It's the legend, the one and only McDonald's monument to better mornings. The Egg McMuffin, made with a fresh cracked egg, and now only $2. But there's more good news. Now you can get any size hot coffee for just $1. Yes, it's back for a limited time only. So come get your Egg McMuffin and hot coffee now on McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu. At participating McDonald's, a la carte only, cannot be combined with combo meal.
I know my little thing.
Blog Talk Radio.
It doesn't work anymore.
You said what?
My little mute switch on my thing, it don't work anymore. It's weird. So I'm wondering your volume thing probably don't work.
Is Willie just having a whole moment over there?
Go ahead, start the show, girl.
Oh, hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D. Guys, y'all want to say hi?
What's going on, people?
What up, though, people? This is your boy Willie Styles, and my headphones still work.
You know what? Anyhow, why you gotta start off shady? Like, why you gotta do that?
I was just letting the people know what was going on in my life. That's all. I was just trying to share.
Okay. Anywho. Welcome to tonight's show, guys. Today is November 29th, 2018. If you're listening right now, you're on blogtalkradio.com/GFT radio show. My brain has just left me like in the mid sentence because Willie want to be petty. Anywho, if you listen to the playback, you're either on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, or YouTube, or any. Well, I'm trying to think of what else. Did I miss anything? No. Right?
No, I think you good.
Yeah, I got it. Right? If you want to get some merchandise, go to teespring.com/stores/GFT radio. Copy y'all some merch, share it on y'all Instagram or social media page, and tag us so we can shout y'all out for rocking the merchandise. I see somebody cop one of those skin folk shirts.
Yeah, I had caught one.
Yeah, I was looking. I was like, all right now, all right.
Yeah, I got me one too. And everybody love that shirt. It's like when they see it, they get it. They be like, oh yeah. Or if they don't, they ask. They'll be like, what does that mean? You know, they try to chop it up about it. So yeah, it's a good talk about a conversation piece. Our GFT radio show merchandise, t-shirts, sweatshirts rather, hoodies, all that stuff. Great conversation pieces, especially when
everybody every time I wear that, this, that, and the third, they want to know why. Like what's that? And now my sister, I told you. And my sister always say, "What up, Del?" Like every time I talk to her, she's like, "What up, Del?" I'm like, "You might as well get a shirt." Like, I'm just saying.
Right, exactly.
I think I'm gonna get her one for Christmas. Like, here you go. Everybody gonna get a GFT radio shirt.
Oh yeah, they make great gifts. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be. I don't celebrate Christmas, but I definitely, I like giving gifts out. So yeah, I think that's the way to go. Everybody gets GFT radio gear.
Exactly. Oh, you don't wear? Oh, you like the shirt? Here's a mug. Here you go. You can take coffee out of that.
There you go.
Gotta get in where you fit in, right? But if you guys want to join the topic, phone number is 657-383-1155. Twitter at GFT_radio. You want to tweet us throughout this show.
I'm jumping into Twitter right now. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna be posting on the web page on the Facebook page. So I'm gonna just copy paste what Willie posts from Twitter. Posted it on the podcast page. That's the type of life I live. About that, I'm about that still life. Anyhow, tonight's topic. Clint came up with this one, right? Clint, you came up with this one.
Yeah, it was more of came up with the basis of it, but I think we all, I kind of brought on it once we all collaborated on it.
Yeah. You want to tell them? That?
Well, basically, it's just about whether black culture has become toxic. That's how I look at it. And what I mean toxic is, are we feeding into more of the negative stereotypes instead of the positive ones. It seems like, I remember we did a show and Sister Sapphire had called in and we was talking about black culture. And, we was kind of really saying, like, do we really have a culture? Because we're split. But I know certain things within our community is kind of universal. And, Willie was talking about, he was reading up on Tekashi earlier during our pre-show. And that's one of the things, because at first it started basically, we was talking about hip-hop. But with me, it's like everything. I feel like we see too much of the way we act and the way we move from entertainment. And that's not just hip-hop. That's movies, comedy, comedians. I feel like we too, a lot of things comedians say we take and run with it, even though it's over-exaggerated. Sometimes we end up living those stereotypes because it seems funny, and I think it has a negative impact on us. And when we was talking about hip-hop, growing up, with me, you feel me, I always said, I could listen to any type of music. It really don't influence me that much. You know what I mean? I'm not going to listen to music, Tupac and want to be a thug or something like that, or listen to NWA want to be a gangster. That just wasn't me. You feel me? I enjoyed the artistry of it. I knew these dudes wasn't out here doing everything they say in their rhymes. It's impossible. Why you ain't in jail? You telling on yourself.
Right.
That's how I always looked at it. And then, but I used to always have these debates with my friends, and they used to tell me how much, like, man, hip-hop influenced everybody. I'm like, well, those people are gullible because it really shouldn't be that way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then one of the things in hip-hop that, Jay-Z came out with a song and a little movie back in the day called The Streets Is Watching. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's kind of apropos to what we're talking about. That's one of the things in the black community and across America that's kind of hindering these street codes. You feel me? We're living by these certain street codes, and everybody in the black community not in the streets. The majority, the overwhelming majority of black people are not in the streets. So we're living and we got people that's not in these streets abiding by these codes and becoming part of the problem, facilitating a lot of these, negative behaviors, so to speak. Mm-hmm. When you talk about the streets is watching, one thing I don't like about is that we don't talk about is the community is real gossipy. Mm-hmm. Real gossipy. The black community is real gossipy. That's something we got to stop. Henceforth, the Tekashi situation. That's why I brought that up. That's when my brother was talking about that earlier. It's like that whole conversation, that whole thing. If you read up on it, it's just a lot of gossip. A lot of people talking. You feel me? Jim Jones from Dipset, he put his 2 cents on it earlier. He was like, you got all these so-called gangsters talking about the next man's issue. He's like, where they do that at? You feel me? He's like, that's something new. That's, you know what I mean? That's not nothing, you're supposed to be doing. And the reason why that's happening is because you got a lot of people that's not from the streets claiming they streets and representing the streets, but not really there, and they profiting off of it. You feel me? And they staring people and kids down the wrong road. This is just one aspect of what we're going to talk about tonight, but I just wanted to start there because our initial topic was going to be hip-hop culture. But to me, it's bigger than hip-hop culture. You feel me about it? I just wanted to start there, talking about how hip-hop and the negative stereotypes that are associated with hip-hop has affected us. The whole community.
Yeah. My biggest thing with it, and kind of steering to the title that you chose, and mentioning about how it's not just hip hop culture, it's black culture, and the tie-in. What it is for me is the tie-in, right? Because when you think about when people think about hip hop culture, they automatically assign it or tie it into black culture. And like you said, there's a vast majority of black people who A, aren't in the streets. B, there's, I wouldn't say a majority, but there's a large a number of us who don't subscribe to only being a part of hip hop as a culture. And then there's the negative aspects of it that has nothing to do specifically with being black. It's more to do with being a part of that realm of following trends or following basically following trends that are associated with either hip hop music, cultural tie-ins to hip hop, things of that nature. So a lot of that has nothing technically to do with being black. You know, being black, you know, in America is a very diverse topic, you know, when it comes to, you know, how we live, how we work, how we raise our families, things of that nature. It sometimes it has nothing to do with our specific either our race or if we like a certain type of music, or where we, you know, it may have more to do with where we live or the people we're around, that kind of thing, you know. So I think that, you know, the tie-in in itself becomes, I wouldn't say a hindrance, so to speak, but I think it can be negative. There can be a negative connotation that can be applied to it, and then it can shine the wrong light on you. You know what I mean? Death by association, because, you know, somebody thinks that you're a certain way based on either your skin color or this whole connotation that hip hop and black culture go together. So I think that, you know, a lot of that thought process can be negative and can be detrimental to us.
Yeah, I think that, and this is, I like, even going back to what Clint said about following like the stuff we hear in the hip hop, like in the music aspect of it, or different aspects of within the black community about, you know, people being gangsters and thugs and blah blah blah. And like one of the things that when he was talking about how people follow stuff that when they're not in that lifestyle, like a lot of this, like we get this when we see all these crimes being committed and stuff is happening, and then people go to talk to the cops. Now, you know, you got that mantra, snitches get stitches, so you don't, you know what I'm saying, like just different things that people follow upon, and like they're not like, or they're supposed to follow upon, even though they're not living that lifestyle, and like losing the ideal of what that word even means, you know, or what that term is directly related to. It's almost like you know, when they talk about snitches, because they're talking about if we commit a crime and you tell on me, that's a problem. But if you witness a crime and you're not living that lifestyle and you call the cops, that's what you're supposed to do. But now it's flipped to where if a regular normal person that's not living that lifestyle witnesses something like that and tells, now we have a problem, and now they're looked upon by the black community as a snitch. So it's like, you know, just different things like that, and like I agree, like I listen to all types of music too, and I don't like when people stigmatize or assume that you're a certain way because of your culture and just the color of your skin. So that kind of like stood out to me when you were talking, Clint.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's part of the bad part when you talk about the snitching that comes along with us promoting that particular lifestyle.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because
hold on, guys.
We
have a call. I just want to get them in. Hold on.
Okay.
Caller, you're on the line with GSP Radio.
Peace, brother.
What's your name?
Brother and sister. Peace, family. This is Equanese.
Peace.
Hello.
Appreciate you calling, brother. Where you calling from?
Yes, sir, no problem. Calling from South Carolina.
All right, appreciate you calling. What's your thoughts on the topic tonight?
Well, this is an interesting topic, and I, as a partaker in these types of discussions, am always happy to offer, you know, my thoughts, my opinions, my views on the issue. And the reality is when we look at the problem that plagues us current day, I can remember Brother Ashra Kwesi, a great historian, teacher. And this brother says what the white people were trying to do is make your enemy your deity. You understand? That's what we are.
Yeah.
We have made our enemy our deity, regardless if we do it on a case of naivety or if we do it by our own free will. This is what collectively, not all of us, but this is what we have done. And it has become that way. I can also go back to Malcolm X saying only a fool would allow his oppressor to teach his children. And that's a reality of what we are. We are not revolutionary. We have not bucked the system. We've only tried to coddle and make, you know what I'm saying, make do with the system. You know, just try to pray about it. Right. We only try. So guess what? If I came to your house yesterday and I beat up your whole family and I came back the next day and you didn't have any type of defense, guess what? I'm only going to do the same thing. Now, this is science, right? And this is what happens for with us as African, as black, melanated people. Now we've lost our connection to be scientific and evaluate how we solve our problems. Therefore, that's why we're still talking about these issues. That's why it is easy for the white man to say, well, hey, come over here, impoverished young black boy. We see you got a lot of talent. We want you to sing about killing Negroes and you know, having sex, raping women. That's what we want you to rap about. We got a nice, wholesome check here for you. You understand? They know how we are. We are desperate in the hood. We'll do anything. You feel?
Well, hold on, brother. Hey, brother. One thing though, that's even more sad about that. It's not only that one brother that's going to take that check, but it's all the millions of people who are going to dance along with him, who are not getting anything out of it other than that. Right. Now, yeah, right. And that goes to my next point, because you hit it right on the head, brother. When they have industrial prison complexes, right? That's the reality. They got a whole bunch of jail cells that they got to get criminals in, because these crackers, these white folks, make a lot of money off this system. They can have us making and producing, manufacturing multi-million-dollar companies, and we're only making pennies. That's the reality. They outsource a lot of jobs to the jails. They Victoria's Secret. You got a lot of products that are being, produced from free prison labor. And I got brothers that they say they get out of jail. It's been sometimes brothers make about 25 cents an hour, right? But now we see that this system has been a system that will even wrong you as a black man because you're reading the book in your car, and I will shoot you in your head and I still get off. So imagine when it comes down to throwing you in jail for any type of reason. You understand? This is the same thing that we've been going through for quite a long time. Ever since slavery, since before slavery, we came from a place of kings and queens, but now we're here. So I think even in the topic of this discussion, this show, it would have to be, I'm going to say, put inside lectures, put inside books, put inside cultures, where now we are singing and rejoicing, talking about why we shouldn't be, coddling or adapting to this weird and awkward, you know what I'm saying, whether it be with all this crazy stuff. We doing all kind of stuff that doesn't take us to a profitable, progressive place for ourselves and our family. We doing all kind of stuff like killing each other. We singing songs about doing drugs. This is why, because we have no connection of who we really are, family.
Correct. That was beautifully put, boss. That goes to a book I was just reading. I had just bought, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by The author named Joy DeGrasse. Great book. And it was basically kind of talking about everything you just mentioned there, from the prison system to how the music, to how how they beat us down to a point of desperation, as you put it, to where now, we'll accept anything. We'll accept anything. So we'll accept somebody telling us, you feel me? Most of these rappers, if you listen to a lot of their songs, they talk about being serial killers, or just drug users, drug abusers. You know what I mean? Or they're really not very. And I'm talking about mainstream hip hop, the ones that's being promoted the most. You can still find that conscious rap, that feel good music, but you really got to search for it. But what they putting out to the mainstream and to the masses is all the negative stuff that's being promoted, as far as the music go. Now I go as far as to say, like they shape this in so many ways to where, like I said, this isn't just about hip hop. You can go to how we raise our kids with religion, sports. Like I take sports for a lot of, and in the black community, a lot of people want to force their kids to play sports. I know friends who put their kids in sports because they think that's the only way to get out. You know what I mean? They see all these superstars and on TV, all this money, these contracts, so they think that's the easiest way to get out. Now, they're not promoting intelligence, so to speak. They're not promoting learning. They ain't promoting, we need more engineers. You know what I mean? We need more black doctors, so to speak. They're promoting, we want you to be athletes. We want you to, dribble a ball or catch a football or something like that. So I think that brings us down as well, because that's not helping us reach our higher self, so to speak. You know what I mean? And it goes to, and like I mentioned with religion, what is our religion? What is the truth? We don't know. It's been given to us here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And on this continent, it's been given to us.
Right.
So, and then when you try to teach something different, that's what I always talk about, cognitive dissonance. You could give some people some truth, but if they're not ready for it, you feel me, they're going to fight you. Your own people will kill you over some truth. You know what I mean? Just because they don't want their reality shattered. They don't want their fantasy shattered.
They can't handle it. They can't really handle the reality of it, and they can't handle that that fantasy being shattered, and it's so definitely to them that it becomes a threat. It's a total threat to their reality.
And you guys know it's getting around that time of year now. Y'all might be pissing some people off now. Y'all hitting the nail on the coffin, so you might be pissing some people off because they're getting ready to go and support Santa Claus and get all, they're getting ready to do this shit. And I wanted to kind of speak to what the brother said about what our religion is and was, and what our religion, if we had a religion as black African people, whatever we call ourselves, at our highest point was our ancestors. Was the importance of remembering. I read a statement today that a brother said that if you teach the kids to respect or remember their ancestors, they are automatically going to respect their elders. And that's what we're in. We're in a place where these kids don't give a damn about elders. That's where it is. And a lot of times the elders don't even give a damn about kids. You got old grandpas might be trying to hit on somebody's granddaughter, or that is just the sickness of, regardless if we picked it up while we are in this situation, or at the end of the day, it's still our fault. You understand? Regardless of the situation, Jesus ain't coming to fix it for us. Allah ain't nobody coming to fix it for us. So regardless of whoever did it to us, it's our fault. So what we have to do now is, like the brother said, is own it. We have to be realistic. We have to say, well, damn, we've been praying hard for a long time, but Jesus ain't. Why 9 of us get killed in the church after we've been praying so hard, after all that we've gone through? Why not the white people get killed in the church, Jesus or Lord or God? Why you let the 9 black people get killed in the church, God? So obviously something scientifically should be communicating to us saying, well, hey, prayer or just, serving, that might not be holistically the way, allowing us to gauge how we're going to fix the problems. Because like everybody's basically explaining now, current day, is that we still have problems. A lot of people, not you all, but people have argued me. Like the brother was just saying, they want to argue. After Barack Obama, everybody thought we made it, right? But right after Donald Trump, they don't realize that Barack Obama is just being paid by the same people that paid Donald Trump. So it's just you just got a Negro in the White House. He's not supposed to do anything special. As a matter of fact, I never heard of all the black people getting killed until right around him. In my whole life,
brother,
I'm about 40 years old.
Brother, we want to keep you on the line. We got another caller.
Okay,
and
yes, sir.
We want to keep you on the line though. Go ahead, Sonny. Switch on the other caller.
All right, hold on. Caller, you're on the line with GFC Radio. What's your name and where are you from?
Yes, ma'am. My name is David. I'm calling from Minneapolis.
Hello.
I appreciate you calling, good brother. So what's your opinion on our topic tonight?
Yeah, I was actually agreeing with you on a lot of the points you're bringing up as far as some cultural issues and how we can try to correct some of the problems within the community. And then I noticed you guys switched to discussion of religion, and you were opening some critiques about Christianity. And I can maybe offer a different perspective in the sense that I'm African myself, and so my family immigrated from Ethiopia in the 80s. And the idea that, for example, that Christianity is not a culturally it's not part of African culture, I think is kind of a misunderstanding of African history. So it's like in Ethiopia, for example, Christianity's been in our country since the 1st and 2nd century AD. And so, and that's also same true for Egypt and the whole Horn of Africa. It's been the case for a long time. And I think it's a mistake to just blanketly talk about Africa when what you guys are describing is primarily a Western African culture that you see in places like Nigeria or Ghana, things on the on the Atlantic coast. But on the other side of Africa, we have a totally different culture. So we didn't believe in ancestor worship or any of that. We had mostly Jewish Christian cultures, and then later, obviously, the Islam came in. And so, I think you have to see things from that perspective. And to your point about Christianity, you mentioned about the 9 people that got shot in the church. I mean, if you've ever read the Bible, one of the main things Jesus mentioned was you will be persecuted when you become a Christian. And if you look at all the early Christians, they were being hunted down and killed by the Romans, by the Jewish leaders of their time. And all throughout history, even to this day, many Christians are hunted down and killed in parts of Africa and in the Middle East to this day. I have family members that have been killed by Muslims because they were Christian. So that's been the case always. And when you talk about the issues in the community, the problem is I find is most American Christians don't actually do what the Bible says. Because if you actually live that way, you wouldn't be committing the mistakes you see in the black community. I mean, the Bible and God teaches you to live as a man, to live disciplined, to have integrity, to have diligence in how you work, to have wisdom in how you conduct yourself. It talks about how you treat other people with respect and the same way you want to be treated yourself. I mean, everything that the Bible promotes, if people live that way, you wouldn't even have to lock your doors that night. It wouldn't be crime. So I don't understand where this critique comes from and what it's based off of.
Well, this is my thing. I'm Christian as well, and the thing for me, I don't like to really talk about religion because everybody disagrees on religion. I'm a very religion and politics are two things I like to step back on because people have their opinions, people have their passions about them. I share your education and belief system on that. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name from Minneapolis, brother, but did you say Minneapolis?
Yep.
African brother. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't catch your name. I apologize, but I definitely share your system of belief in terms of the how and the why. The thing is, I think a lot of times the critique is in the how in terms of how people, practice their religion. And you pointed out that, that unfortunately Christians aren't Christians. There's so many people who look down on Christianity because we have this display that we make and this and this pomp and circumstance about who we worship and how we are supposed to be, but you don't see that on the back end. But you have that with other religions too. And my thing is, no one's perfect and nobody's doing it right. I personally feel like every religion has their way of doing things and their belief systems and their teachings, and a lot of them, they mesh and they mirror, right? If anybody has ever studied Islam, you will see a lot of similarities between who you're taught about and what you'll learn in between Christianity and Islam. Yeah. But the problem becomes the people. The people don't do like the brother said from Minneapolis. People don't do what they're taught. They don't practice what they preach. But, and I think that a lot of it is people. They critique based on what the general public is doing versus what the religion is teaching. And I think we all have to respect each other's religions in the fact that we all are being taught from a base of peace, love, and being better people. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough people showing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then going back to what the other brothers said.
Further, I'll take it a step further within the black community. I think this is my personal thoughts. I don't know if anybody's going to agree with me, but this is what I will say about I was raised a Christian. My mom was raised Catholic, and my grandma was a Baptist. So we all over the place. And for the better part of my dating career, I've dated either Catholic or Muslim. So I'm always I don't mind talking about religion, and I understand that, and I want to kind of piggyback on what Willie said about how we all essentially have the same ideas and goals as far as religion is concerned. Like the caller said about how we're supposed to conduct ourselves, stuff like that. But I think when it comes with the black community, as far as Christianity is involved, they see a white Jesus, and they get caught up in that. And we're worshiping this white person and blah blah. Like, this is what I've got when I had these conversations. They go straight to, oh, you worshiping a white person. Like, if you read the Bible or looked at it and and you were taught from the Bible at some point in your life, you were told they describe Jesus as this person that he could either be black, whatever color, but if you look at the commercial brand of it, they show him as a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person. You know what I'm saying? They try to picture him as this white person, and I think people miss the fact that's just imagery.
I think we I want to get back to
but the reality is he wasn't white. That's just a fact. It's a historical fact that he wasn't white.
Yeah, but I want to get back to the topic for a second, because we strayed a little bit, because that wasn't my point for bringing up religion. It wasn't.
Can I circle back for you real quick for you, Clint, just to circle back towards the topic like you want. But I just want to make one quick comment, and going back to what the brother asked, of why the critique. I think the thing is that we have the other problem of, and kind of piggybacking on what Sonny's bringing up, is that religion has been used to try to control and manipulate, and now we have not only religion doing that, but we also have music, media, movies, the news. We have all these other things now because we've all, not we've all, but a lot of people have lost religion, so now people have found a new way of affecting your mind and affecting your behaviors.
Right. Yeah. My point I was trying to bring up was interesting. I'm not sure which guy said it, but one of you mentioned the point about how he was basically inferring that the black community had somehow been praying for so long and apparently been so Christian, and yet it had no positive effect. And my argument was that for the majority of the black community does not practice Christianity. What they practice is called churchianity, where they just go to a building on Sundays and they call that being a Christian. But when it comes to how they live, they're not living as one, because there's no way any person who's actually living according to Scripture would engage in self-destructive behavior like that, whether it be criminal behavior, whether it be irresponsibility and not taking care of your family, or as a man not raising up your children and disciplining them. That's all a byproduct of people who decided that we don't want to live a life that's accountable to God. We want to live how we want to live. We want to sleep with who we want to sleep with. We want to drink, smoke, party, do everything life with no accountability whatsoever, and we don't care what the consequences lead to. And that's what you're witnessing now. Because the black community used to be a community that used to live according to the Bible, and you didn't see the same type of crime or out of wedlock birth rates like you see now. It wasn't like this 40 years ago. It was as the black community got away from Scripture and started embracing more secular views is where we see the breakdown of the family and the increase in crime.
I would love to debate you on that another day because I totally disagree there. But
well, the matter of statistics, brother, you can't debate numbers.
Yeah, well, the statistics we can talk about how the welfare system, it was more than just how people got away from religion. And I contend that
I agree with you on that. Those are other factors, but that played a part as well.
Yeah, and then most black people all black people were never Christians. All black people in America, the majority of black people in America.
I mean, I'm talking about a large percentage
Christian.
of them were, but the idea of even taking welfare from a Christian point of view is wrong in itself. Like as a man, I'm not talking about for women who have children. I'm talking about an able-bodied man as a Christian knows it's a sin for you to take welfare. If you're able to work, if you have
the welfare was mainly towards women. The welfare was mainly towards women. That's not the reason why I brought up religion.
In America was designed to destroy the black family. That's what they intended to do.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not the point. We're getting away from the point of why I brought up religion. It wasn't. I wasn't even critiquing religion. That's what the other caller, he brought that up about the praying and all of that. My thing was with the religion is we're not applying it. So it's not bringing us forward. Like you said, we're not practicing the true Christianity. So if we're not practicing true Christianity in America, it really is pointless at this point. That's basically what y'all saying. So it's really not helping us if we're not going to practice it to the T. You feel me? I've been, you know what I mean? So my thing was, in the community, when you talk about, when you bring up religion, what turns people away is, Willie brought it up, the kind of the judgmental aspect of it. It doesn't really have to. Most people don't really have to do with the Jesus, but the judge. How does it apply to us? To where our oppressor claim Christianity and we claim Christianity. If we're serving the same deity, how can we come up? How do we apply it to improve our living? If they're practicing Christianity, you feel me? And then we're claiming Christianity, but they're oppressing us. How does that improve us?
Well,
you feel me? And then the problem with the black community. Yeah, and then the problem with the black community is this right here. See, and Willie mentioned it. See, when we get defensive, people get defensive when you start talking about the issues. Because there's always more than one way to skin a cat. So whenever somebody's critiqued, you feel me? Like that was the word you used, critique. You didn't understand the critique. Everybody, every system, everything deserves critique.
No, I never said it didn't deserve critique. I'm saying the critique that the caller previous to me had mentioned was his inference was that somehow the black community has somehow been Christian and it hadn't helped them. Therefore, it's not necessary. And even went as far as saying that the prayers of those Christians didn't save them from getting shot in that church, as if to say that there's no power behind that. And I said that's crazy. Because how can you even, if you don't even read the Bible, where all the early disciples and all the early Christians were rounded up and killed, some of them fed to lions, some of them burned at the stake, some of them crucified upside down. That's been happening since the beginning of Christianity. The idea of persecution, that's brand new. But if you're going to talk about this idea of, for example, like it doesn't work for the community, therefore we shouldn't use it. As an individual, you can apply it. I mean, if you are a Christian, if you actually live that way, I'm going to just ask you straight up, if someone actually lived according to what the Bible teaches, specifically what Jesus taught, would they be living in a way that's self-destructive to themselves or destructive to the community in any way, shape, or form?
No.
Then that's my point. That sums it up right there.
Right.
Yeah, you say that about any religion. You say that about Islam. You say that about any religion.
All right.
Well, I wouldn't say that
We
about
have
Islam
caller.
because if you actually study what Muhammad did, I mean, let's look at the life of what the guy was doing. I don't know anyone who want to live that way. I mean, Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl and had sex with her when she was 9. That's pedophilia. If you did that today, you'd go to jail for that. I don't know anyone that want to copy that way of living. When we look at the famous, a lot of people know the famous story about Jesus.
Yeah, well, you're talking about all the Catholic priests who molesting the kids and all that. It goes on and on, bro. Everybody.
Too. And Catholicism isn't Christianity either. I mean, if you know history,
but that's what Christianity stems from.
Catholicism was made by the Roman Empire 400 years after Jesus.
Brother from Minneapolis, 1 second. Brother from Minneapolis, 1 second. We have another caller. We're going to put you on hold for a second. If you don't mind, just hold on for us. We want to get another caller in real quick.
Okay, y'all phone up. Hold on, guys. Caller, you're on the line with GFT Radio. What's your name and where you from?
Greetings. This is Sapphire. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Sapphire.
What's going
Hi.
on, Sapphire? What's going on, Queen?
Listen, I'm going to have to be the controversial one because I do critique religion. I unabashedly critique religion, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to be brief because you know I'm long-winded, but I'm going to be brief tonight. In college, studying the 3 major world religions, I had more respect for religion before college. After college, I understood clearly that religion is the most detrimental, most powerful tool to use to dismantle a culture. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I could give you scripture. I heard earlier someone speak about how Islam or Muslims subscribe to religious doctrines that promoted pedophilia. Well, we can say that for Christianity as well. The problem that I have with the Christian is this. They'll quickly tell you, well, have you read the Bible? I've read the Bible from cover to cover. And what I understand is there is incest, pedophilia, murder, slavery, rape. If you abide, here's the problem that I have with the Christian. They want to pick and choose what they can adhere to in the Bible. No, if you're going to be a Christian, wear your sackcloth and your ashes on your head. Sell your daughter. If your son gets out of line, take him outside the city walls and stone him to death. That's what the Bible says. I'm sick of people telling black folks they're not following Christianity the proper way. The brother told you straightly. He said there are white Christians who are in a better position than black Christians. Do they not serve the same God? That's what I need to know. Secondly, I want to say this. As it relates to Christianity, when we look around neighborhoods that are predominantly black, and if you are into real estate or if you are looking to buy a home, the thing you will notice right away, and what real estate agents will tell you, when you see a litany of churches, the property values are low. Hold up. Crime is rampant. Okay? Poverty and ignorance. Okay? Religion destroys linear thinking. Okay? That's what we need to understand. Just like those Africans that they said have not been touched by society in 50,000 years, when that Christian came over there, they arrowed him to death, which is what they should have done, because some kind of way they got the memo that they will leave you with the Bible, but they'll have all your land and any kind of natural resource that you have. We need to understand this. Like the brother said, you can't get in your feelings when people talk about what's wrong with the black community. No, you got to put it where the goats can get it. So I'm saying Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and whatever other kind of religion anyone can think of is a tool to keep a structure of racism and white supremacy in play. I believe that's the strongest tool. The second tool is music, because we understand that music is supposed to be indicative of the sentiments of a man's soul. We know this because small children can listen to music and they will subscribe to that. Now, having said that, we need to understand what it is that revolves around rap music. It started out as a beautiful thing, okay? But it has ended up being one of the biggest monsters in the black community. So when we look at rap, what industries promote it and what industries stand to gain from it? You already said the prison system, the jail, the local jails, right? The medical industry.
Right.
What other industries? Business. It's crime. It's major business. This is what people don't understand. So when somebody comes out with a song and in those bars they're talking about how it's so sexy and cool to ride dirty, and excuse my expression, how you'll have all the bitches. So then if there is a young person who doesn't have the presence of mind to understand that that is propaganda, then guess what? Music is the sentiment of a man's soul. What does that mean? That he is going to take hold of that music and incorporate it within his lifestyle. So we have to look at the church and the music. They are both tools used to keep a people down. And if you are going to keep subscribing to Christianity, for me, I'm not going to let you verify the Bible with the Bible. I need for you to verify the Bible outside of the book. Okay? I don't want to hear about black Jesus, white Jesus, because we know that ancient Kemet and other Africans did not use Christianity. Christianity is an interpolated version of the original spiritual modalities of Africans. It's sun worship. It's sun worship. That's what Christian is. That's what Christianity is. Sun worship. I'm through.
Thank you, sister.
Well, Sapphire, I ride with you. This is Clint, a.k.a. Smooth. I'm 100% with everything you just said. I agree with. You understand? I agree with wholeheartedly. And I want to take it a step further. The one thing in the black community that's we let the fools determine what was cool. We let the ignorant determine what we should be doing in the right way to live. You feel me? We let you can take it to in school where it was being shunned in certain communities, not all, I don't want to say all, but in a lot of black communities, you had to hide your intelligence. Other black people. You feel me? Because you would get clowned. They would call you a nerd. They would call you, you wasn't cool enough. You know what I mean? The girls wouldn't like you.
But where does that come from? I'm asking you.
We accept the ignorance. They taught us. That's why I said they taught us to celebrate our lower selves. That's where you come in with the music. We celebrate the worst of the music is the most popular. When it comes to like I said, when it comes to school, we don't promote being intelligent. We don't promote being engineers and doctors or lawyers and teachers and stuff. We promote being the best athlete. You feel me? Everything is physical. You ain't reaching your higher self yet. Your higher mental self. It's just your higher physical self. So we were taught to get by on the scraps, and we still got that same mentality.
Question.
Go ahead.
Do you remember when music was taken out of the school?
Yeah. Well, up here,
the black community. Let me say that the black community, because school districts that are predominantly white, they still teach jazz, guitar, percussion, flute, piano, organ, name it. They still have it.
I think that's financial. So, because like in my community, we still have it, but it's purely financial, right? Because if your community is or your school system is suffering financially, that's the first thing they remove is your arts. First thing on the move is your music, things like that.
Okay, but that's what people say. But there are different streams of revenue that could get instruments donated. These athletes you all speak of. I mean, there are so many avenues of income that could provide these instruments. But let me. I want to tell you why it was taken out.
I'm just saying that's what it is. I mean, I live in a.
Okay, I want to tell you why it was taken out. Because here with this current situation that we're in now, right? There is no creativity. I hear people talking about how Kanye was a genius, you know. But let's be real with this here. Well, let's be factual. First of all, he is not a genius. He is a genius at remixing some of the residue that was left by black men who were so very creative. Okay? I'm talking about kids that grew up in the hood, that picked up a flute, okay, that picked up a saxophone, a trumpet, a guitar, an acoustic guitar, and they took that thing home and they put all their energy into it and worked with it and, you know, did it day and night and came up with things like Wes Montgomery. They couldn't figure out in college. I had a music teacher, a white woman, had the nerve to put on a test that Wes Montgomery had an irregular style that was wrong for playing the guitar because he could use his thumb the way no one else could use for that acoustic guitar. She also said that Thelonious Monk played the piano as though he was crippled, but I want you to know there is no one today that can play jazz piano like Thelonious Monk. I told her I'm just going to have to fail this test because those were geniuses and they had gifts. And you're saying that they were wrong, but they were very creative. So I'm saying to you, the music was taken out. Here you go. You got rap, right? That started out beautifully, okay? And it has ended up as a devil of some sorts for the black community because every filthy and debaucherous thing that you would want to keep your children away from is celebrated. And I'm telling you, this is just my opinion. Any rapper that gets major promotion, right, is a propaganda piece. Any rapper. I guarantee you that. Because why is it that these kids aren't... You say what?
Which countries have the highest academic standards in the world among their students?
You know what? I don't pay attention to the academic standards of other countries because let me tell you why. Any standardized test is going to be used to besmirch and put the black man in a lowly position. So we have got to understand our own worth and our own intelligence, and we've got to measure that by what? A universal consciousness. I'm
talking about how the students do in reading, writing, math, and the things that eventually lead you to the STEM fields. So if you look around the world, who are the highest?
Where black folks
China
is with another,
and India are some of the highest rated in the world, not because they have a music program, but they have a culture that demands academic excellence of their children, and they have a very disciplined form of education.
You're saying that because this country promotes anybody but the black man and the African. That's why you think that. It has nothing to do with being black or anything. It's about culture. You don't get that. You know where you get that information from? You get that information from American propaganda. Africa has the most brilliant scientists and mathematicians that there is. I know people from those countries, and guess what? This is not to throw any salt on anyone, but there are plenty of Asians who have zero personality. Zero consciousness.
That doesn't matter. We're talking about education.
Yes, it does matter. It does matter. It matters. Okay? Because here's the thing. If you can correctly navigate math to a certain level, but you don't have social skills, you're going to struggle. And you know this. You're saying this because the American culture promotes other people.
Look,
Okay,
there's
callers,
white
callers,
people,
callers,
black
callers,
people,
callers. Let me,
Hispanics that are the same way,
callers,
that don't
let
have a
me,
personality.
callers.
What are you talking about?
Hold on, callers. Hold on. Let's because we talking about other cultures and all that. Let's stick to ours for a second. We talking about the black people in America. First of all, that's what discussion is about. We you know what I mean, we done had those discussions about, you know, all that before. Let's stick with how, you know, because we're talking about the educational system here in America, how educational system here in America is failing people in our community, and how in our communities we don't celebrate education. And more importantly, I don't even want to just say education. I want to say, because I think what Sapphire is really getting into is intelligence. Because, you know what I mean, education really doesn't determine intelligence. You feel me? Anybody can be educated, but that doesn't make you intelligent. You know what I mean? They can teach you how to think.
You just proved my point.
They can teach you what to think, but they can't teach you. You know what I mean? They don't really teach you
you're
how
literally
to think.
proving the point I'm trying to make. You don't even realize it. You've been saying over and over again, and I agree with you. You talked about how in the black community, intelligence and academic excellence isn't celebrated or promoted. And I'm saying in other cultures, like in Indian cultures, Asian cultures, Jewish cultures, it's promoted, and not only promoted, it's demanded of their children. If you do not perform well in school, you're shamed, and you basically become an outcast in their communities. And I know this firsthand from the many people from those communities that grew up seeing and how it went. And so to your point, I'm trying to say that if we as a culture had that similar mindset, we would have better results like those cultures do. And that's literally in line with the very point you brought up. The black culture does not celebrate intelligence or education of any type whatsoever. And the point she's trying to bring up, she brought up this whole thing about the lack of a music department in schools. That's ridiculous. Nobody needs a music department. We need children to start getting into the STEM field. Did you have more intellect, if you can use that point, studying science, technology, engineering, and math?
Well, I
disagree.
I think she's talking about a balance, though. You do need a balance.
You don't need a music department.
You can't.
You need a music department.
You can't.
Can I explain what I
It's
think?
part of us. Music has always been a part of us.
Yeah, you can do that in your free time, but when you go to school, you need to focus on the skills that you need to be able to succeed in life, as far as starting a business, getting into a field, whatever it may be. Like I'm a civil engineer. I got a degree from the University of Michigan. And I can say in my entire neighborhood, I was the only person that went to a legit college. Everyone else I knew either dropped out or went to a community college, and that's it, including all my brothers and sisters. And I'm telling you from firsthand, after going there and seeing how the Asians and the Jews and even some of the Hispanic people were, and how they lived and how they conducted themselves, how their families were, how they were being taught, what their communities were like, I can see why there's so many of them in those schools and in those fields, and why they're so successful and why we're not. But if you're going to avoid the issue and not address the actual problem, you'll never fix it. You can dance around and play an instrument all day, but if you can't do math, that doesn't mean squat.
Here's what you're not understanding. Firstly, the basis of music, the very fundamentals of music is mathematics. Let's get that straight. Let's get that straight. Okay? So if you pick up a musical instrument at the age of 4, you are becoming mathematically inclined as you master that instrument. That's number one. Number two, music creates an outlet, okay, to avoid other vices. That's number two. Number three, again, as I say to you, music is the sentiments of a man's soul. So when we had Earth, Wind, and Fire, and they were teaching the children to keep their heads to the sky, and he said you needed to be a peaceful person, and you needed to be a man to understand why. That is not incorporated in this kind of music. Secondly, I want to say this. Those cultures, here's what you're not understanding. They are taught to learn how to solve the problems of their community. The black community is not taught in school how to solve the problems of their community. Let's get that straight. I know plenty of black... You don't get taught that in school,
you get taught that at home. There's a difference.
Are you serious?
Yes, because a lot of them go to the same
Are you
public
serious
schools
right now?
and the same flawed American education system that doesn't teach
why weren't you taught how to be an engineer at home? Why weren't you taught an engineer solves problems?
My dad strictly disciplined me and demanded academic excellence
out of me every day. Do engineers solve
Absolutely.
problems?
But you're the one that mentioned the point about how music...
Why didn't your parents teach you how to solve problems instead of going to school to get a degree in engineering? You're talking crazy.
What do you mean? My parents helped me get an education. What are you talking about? No, the point is you don't get taught by music how to live as a man. A man is taught to be a man by being disciplined by his father. That's the only way.
Callers. Sonny, are you on the line? I guess not. Callers. All right. See, this is one of the problems right here. We're fighting. We're fighting instead of trying to come to
I didn't know my phone was muted. I apologize.
Yeah.
I was talking to you guys couldn't hear me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're fighting each other instead of coming to solutions. You feel me? All I see is people pointing fingers. We're critiquing each other, but we're not, you know what I mean, we're really just trying to prove our point. Yeah, we're really just trying to prove a point instead of coming to some type of understanding. Because I agree with the brother that we do need to be more disciplined in education. You feel me? Like he said, what I was saying was, but I also agree with Sapphire about we definitely need music, you know what I mean? And like she said, mathematics is the basis of learning music. And that's in us. The same way music affects us negatively, it can also affect us positively. So the shame music on one end, to say, you know what I mean, the worst of rap, the worst, it's just like with in church and religion, you know, music is there. People love the gospel.
Yeah.
Touch something in your soul. To some people who don't even subscribe to that, you know what I mean, to that ideology. You feel? I don't subscribe to the Christianity ideology, but I listen to some of their songs and they touch me in a certain way because, you know, I can still see the truth in it. You feel me? It's truth.
Hold on, Sapphire and caller for Indianapolis. We got another caller. We want to get them on the line, so hold on, guys. Yeah, sorry, guys. I didn't know my phone was muted. I was trying. Where did the caller go? Hold on. Caller, you on the line with GFT Radio?
Yeah, okay. Hey, can you hear me, or should I change off the headphones?
Nah, we hear you.
Hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man, I've talked to, you know, both of the people you've had on the panel before over, you know, different things. So, you know, this is an interesting mix y'all got going on up here tonight.
Yes.
The things I would, if I can, the things I would push back on. First things first, the idea that the black community is anti-intellectual or that kids get bullied for being smart. I think if you look a little deeper, you'll find out that children tease other children because they can and because there's always something to find. Not necessarily because you're smart. No, you got teased because you were awkward or you carried yourself as a nerdy type of person. So what you find is those classmates typically, they protect those children who they roast every day. But if somebody from another classroom tries to mess with them or another school tries to mess with them or they feel like they're being bullied, those are the kids who will protect that kid. And then the next day they're still going to roast him about, you know, his haircut, his glasses, or whatever. Now, the problem becomes when you got a kid who's really cool and smart. Those are the hardest children to teach ever because they get like damn near a following within the classroom, and what they do, other kids do. But this thing about, you know, black folks being anti-intellect, like, no, I just completely disagree with it. And I think we need to inspect that a little more. Children are cruel. Yes. Children are going to make fun of other children. Yes. But more than anything, it's about the thing that you have sticking out that's easy to pick on. And all of us on this line, I'm sure we've had our moments within the classroom where somebody had the wrong shoes on, the wrong pants or whatever, and you got something to get you a joke off and get the laughs. Like, that's kind of how that goes. As far as, like, bringing up China and India as places to be followed, there's some frightening statistics under those high numbers. The suicide rate of teens in India and China, very worth looking at. Because when you have a society that's regulated,
they just had somebody. They just had a Chinese student that jumped, like, killed himself for the pressure.
Right. And you make it all about that. What happens to those who don't reach that? That's when you see the self-destructive tendencies in China and India, and you also see they can kind of justify pushing those people out into basically peasant work their whole lives where they have nothing to look forward to and are living off wage slavery by saying, hey, you didn't score well on this, so you guys deserve it. Now, we're talking about the majority. You see what I'm saying? So when you go to those academies, the prestigious, you know, well-qualified academies in China and India, yes, you're going to find the brightest of the brightest. but the majority are going to rural schools. And no, it's not like that when it comes to test scores and things of that nature. But overall, man, I think, we're always going to have different points of view, different ideas. So we should just bring those ideas together. The brother y'all got on the line, me and him argue all the time. Me and him barely agree on anything. But he's respectful enough to have the argument at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows where I'm coming from, I know where he's coming from. We're going to argue. We're going to disagree. It is what it is. But, everybody gets heard and we kind of keep it moving. But either way, though, man, interesting conversation y'all got, man. But I just wanted to touch on those two things.
What was your name?
Thank you for.
What's that?
What was your name?
Oh, this is Naj. I'm still here. Yeah, this is Naj.
Naj. Okay.
Nah.
All right.
Yeah, that's not.
But
Yeah,
I just wanted to
one
know.
thing I wanted to. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to because I was trying to with my team, but I didn't know my phone was on mute. But I want to say this really quickly. We still have music in our schools, and I do believe music is a big part because, especially with the kids learning music notes, that's a very hard thing to do, and that shows that I think I think music is kind of like a very good thing for kids to have in the school. I think it's very important to stay in school. I'm all for STEM civics and teaching these kids a lot more. I know we talked about on past shows about showing them, about finances, so that way they can be better people as they grow into adulthood, because that's not taught in school and stuff like that. But as to what the guy Nas just said, I feel like we should. I agree we should align somewhat to those other cultures, but not necessarily, because like you said, that pressure alone, if you push academics, which is good to push, but push it to the extent that if a child feels like they're not performing to your expectations and they choose to be, get into some type of depression, and those things are real. People get overwhelmed. Even most of the kids we went to school with that were highly educated because their parents expected them to excel in school always. They would cry if they got like a B or a C. So I say we push our kids in a healthy way to better themselves in education, but not push them to the point where they're like, stressed and depressed and things like that.
Yeah,
I
you don't want an intellectual leper to where he can't communicate he or she can't communicate with other people, not comfortable. Have you ever met any of the millennials who come from fine schools and they'll go in for an interview? They can't look anybody in the eye. They can't shake hands. They're really awkward sitting in the room waiting, talking to other people. Small talk terrifies them. They get anxiety from being on the elevator. Like, when you're raising somebody and the balance is that off as far as their humanity, because you just figured they're going to be an intellectual tool that you're going to force knowledge into, but you're not allowing them to grow and develop, you're creating stunted humans. So, that's another thing, too. And I'm just saying, be aware of needing to keep that balance. There's a lot of homeschool children right now who are going to get out into the world, in the job market, and they are going to be so awkward and so weird about how they move throughout society. It's going to be impossible to stay at certain places as far as working.
True.
Yeah,
I wanted to
it makes it a huge challenge for them because they don't have a balance.
Exactly. Yeah. I wanted to go back to what he said, because about education, being teased about being smart and stuff in school. That's why I said, when I first started, I said in some communities, even in my city, which is 7 square miles, capital New Jersey, Trent, like in my neighborhood, we didn't subscribe to that. Like, you would get clowned. I thought I mentioned it on here before. If like, we would make fun of you if you ain't know how to read, or if you was, like, we ain't play that. We didn't celebrate stupidity. You feel me? We didn't celebrate being dumb. Now, I got a friend.
That was the nerd's revenge when y'all had to read aloud and the bully in the class couldn't get through a sentence. Oh, the nerds won. They would give it to them.
And it was, and like in my neighborhood, it was so funny. Like in my neighborhood,
a couple years ago.
Yeah, like in my neighborhood, it was funny because we was the type. It was the type that will tease you if you didn't know, and if you wanted to, we can fight too. You feel me? Because that was one of the things we promoted. But one of the callers that we used to have, one of my boys' friends, Al. Now, he lived on the other side of town, And he, like I said, we're only 7 square miles. But in his section, it was different. It was, he felt like certain people, if, like you said too, if you had an awkwardness about you, you couldn't show that you were super smart too. Like you had to hide that. You feel me? And that was just in the same city. And like over on my side, nah, you're not hiding that you stupid. You know what I mean? You don't hide.
Yeah, that's how it was in my the schools I went to, and when I was younger, especially when I was in elementary school, they celebrated stupidity for sure. I mean, it was like you were made fun of if you were smart, or if you showed that you were too, that you were overachieving. You were picked on, you were bullied, that kind of thing. When I got in high school, it was different. But I also went to a high school where overachievement was the thing to do. We had drug dealers, we had gangbangers, but they were all super smart. So it was like that was the thing. It's like you couldn't be up in there. I mean, we competed for grades, we competed for A's, we competed for top of the class. But that was a different mindset at that point. You know what I mean? You saw different walks of life. The same people who, when we were younger, we got picked on because we were smart. But then when we got older, we were able to get into an environment where we could be celebrated, and where it was that was a badge of honor to be smart.
Yeah, but this is why I mean children is always going to be something. I think we want to believe that it was because we were smart, as opposed to saying, hey, we're growing, we're developing, there are awkward stages, there are moments where people are going to find something. Hey, he wear that shirt every Thursday. Watch when he comes in, he gonna have that shirt on, and then he comes in and boom, he's got the joke. Everybody's laughing. Like kids deal with popularity as a currency to a certain degree, and if they can get a shot in on you, man, they're gonna do it.
See, for me, I grew up in the same town as Clinton, but I grew up out west, and I was a combination of like I didn't realize I was a nerd until I was an adult, but I was because I always I got kicked out of class for fighting. But I always was picked on, too. Like, I got picked on so much that I started knocking people out. And they was like, wait a minute, she different. But on top of that, I was also a little bit of a class clown. So, but, like, my mom used to always be like, how the hell you always getting good grades? Because I do my work. I'm just over here acting up, like, But, like,
that's the problem.
Because I had to because I was smaller than everybody else. I was awkward. But people kept picking on me, so I started knocking people out. And, as I started hitting some people, I became popular, so I became a little class clown. But, like, I was still picked on because I didn't wear the best of clothes. My mom had 5 kids. I was the second oldest, but the smallest out of all the sisters, so I used to get hand-me-downs. So, I was a little awkward one that just walked around and just looked weird, and I looked small. People wanted to pick on me. I got picked on up until high school all the time. Even in high school, even though I was knocking people out, I still got picked on.
I think Nas just changed my mind, because even with Al telling me that, like, it's right. Like, you only get picked on if you allow somebody to pick on you. If you allow it, you feel me? If you continue to allow it,
people just do it. They assholes.
Right.
Braiding my hair like Bob Marley kid.
Right. It's the smallest kid in the class is the funniest. A bully is going to be friends with him. Why? Because he don't want that dude cracking jokes on him. Now they protect each other. Exactly. It's kind of like a little crew. Look, if I call my dad right now and all I got to say is turtleneck, he'll start laughing. Because there's an infamous story. When I was a little kid, I was sent to school in a turtleneck, and I got them bars that day. I'm talking about I got roasted, bro. And it wasn't because I was reading at a higher level than some of the other kids. It's because I had on that damn turtleneck, and they was gonna get them jokes.
Yeah, right, exactly. And like what Willie said, even what Willie said, it's like, the crime in the city is crazy. But growing up, you kind of knew. Oh, he ain't got, like, it's sad to say, like, growing up in school with certain dudes, you kind of knew, like, yeah, man, he ain't got no chance. You feel me? But at the same time, it wasn't because he wasn't smart. Like Willie said, even in elementary and in junior high, I knew some dudes that you knew they was going to either end up in jail and dead, and some of them have, but their intelligence was never in question.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's why I say Nas convinced me, because because it ain't really. It's really how you conduct yourself at the end of the day. And like I said, we all get that turn. You feel me? We all get that turn when we get roasted. You feel me? You got to go through it. It's that line of fire you just got to walk through. You know what I mean? It's that line of fire. It's that line of fire. So I got
your lining get messed up, they teasing you because of your haircut, not because you won the spelling bee. I'm sorry. It's your hair, bro. They going to get them jokes. And another point I kind of got to push back on. Because, instruments are cool. Yeah, nothing wrong with music. Nothing wrong with reading music either. But there's also something to be celebrated about the genius of some kids in New York to pick up drum machines, didn't even have the instructions, played with them for hours, and created a genre of music. And now we got kids, some who grew up in the church, learn to play the organ and transfer that into learning how to make beats. There is some talent to this. Like, for us to act like that's not talent is crazy. The whole world is listening to this multi-billion-dollar industry. Now, context of that industry, which has gotten really negative and abusive and not really useful for the most part, that's just a consequence of capitalism, period. Like, if you're selling records and you become the biggest genre, guess what? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's kind of how the music industry works. When rock and roll was on top, they weren't putting out positive material. Like, that's blues, man. Go listen to the old blues and see the stuff they was talking about. Like, there's something about Americans and our interest in negativity or, just crazy type stuff. Like, it goes across genres, man. And the jazzmen who were celebrated, what were they celebrated for being? Rolling Stones, nightclub guys, smoking reefers and shooting H and hanging with you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't the cool factor didn't come from being good. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fire?
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, actually, now it's just touched on a point I wanted to make earlier too, is that and I know Clinton, you made a good point about we have to focus on our community, we have to focus on the solutions we need, but I need to still remind people the problems we have as a community. I think they're amplified because we are still a small community. I mean, we're still, I don't know the exact statistics, but I want to say it's like 19%. We're still only 19% of the American population. We're still, the vast majority of people that are incarcerated. But the problems that we have are still not exclusive to us. We're not the only ones having these issues. White people don't celebrate education and intelligence any more than we do in schools when you're younger. There's still Asians and Jews who do crime, who promote violence, who do things that have nothing to do with their upbringing or their religion. There's still Muslims who smoke and drink and beat their wives. There's everybody. There's like Nas just mentioned, this country promotes negativity, unfortunately, to a fault. And, we have to remember that everybody's going through problems. Everybody's going through things. Unfortunately, I would say, in my beliefs, our culture has been detrimented by it, though, disproportionately, right? Because we are so small, but we are so big as well. We're in the spotlight. Like I think Clint's favorite thing to mention is that black on black crime doesn't.
Right, bruh. You can run a timeline on America. The group who's on the bottom gets the pejoratives. So paddy wagon, no dogs or Irish allowed in this store. The group who's on the bottom, instead of society correcting itself and seeing the wrongs that are in there systemically, it blames the group who's on the bottom for the situation that they're in. So all of these different, things that you see about black people, you go back through American history decade by decade, and you'll see the group that's on the bottom is the one getting all of those damn pejoratives, because that way you justify the system by saying the system's not wrong, it's you people, and you need to correct yourself and do like us. And then you're like, wait a minute, let me open up your closet. And you talking about theft, murder, rape, slavery, and basically cheating people out of their wages. So when did you become the moral authority? So it gets rough, man, but you described it perfectly, man.
Yeah, exactly.
let me ask y'all this real quick
still
because
on?
we only got a few minutes left.
Okay.
Do you think, not individually, you feel me, but as a collective, do you think black people been victimized so long that in a weird sort of way we get off on still being the victim?
I think
there's some people who believe that we capitalize off of the victim mentality. I think there's some people who do try to capitalize off of that, or not capitalize. You know what I mean? They try to use that as a crutch. But I don't think, as a vast majority, our issues are blamed upon the things we've gone through to that point. You know, there's validity. What I'm trying to say is there's validity to a lot of the complaints that we have about this country, about the vast majority of the majority of people. Let's just say it, the white people. You know, there's still validity to the treatment that we have had to endure, and there's validity to the position that we're in at this point. You know, when we talk about this prison complex, when we talk about poverty, when we talk about it, you know, and back to Sapphire's point, I don't know if she's still online. Back to Sapphire's point, when I jumped in and said that, you know, in my community we still have music, but her point was this: the majority of communities that have lost their music and arts programs are communities that are affected by poverty. Why is she calling it the black communities? Because the vast majority of those communities are black or predominantly black. So there's a problem. There's validity to it. So it has nothing to do. Well, I won't say nothing, but it's not fully stemming from us being victims of past wrongs. It's being victim of current wrongs.
Yeah, on top of the past wrongs. And to Sapphire's point, the idea that your education system will be funded by your local tax base is basically baking inequality into the cake. So these people get a lackluster education, these people get a higher level of education, and then you turn around and say, oh, those people are scoring less than these children over here at this prestigious, well-cost school. So it's absurd to a degree. But as far as black people and the whole idea of victimhood, I say, okay, let's take black folks and let's take America out of the context. Let's take this anywhere else globally and see if it makes sense. So if we go to the Philippines, where the Chinese own the majority of things there and are really ravaging the Filipino people, is the problem there that the Filipino people are feeling themselves as victims, or what the Chinese are doing to them? If we go, you know what I'm saying? Anywhere where you see struggle, oppression, and oppressor, there's going to be ways to try and justify it and blame the victim. And at a certain point, like, it can sound good to you because it feels like it's empowering, but if you really just, you know what I mean? If you really just explore it, you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't hold up. This is BS. This is a way of you pushing off your responsibility for what you've done and what you currently do. So, like I said, apply that same metric to any other place to where there's a dynamic of oppression, and it won't make sense because it's, you know, oppressor's language to continue things as status quo. You're a victim. Yep. It's your mentality. That's the problem, not what I'm doing to you. Abusive husbands are real good at that.
It's like gaslighting.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Briefly before we
I'm
get
still
off
here. I was just listening. I'm still here. I'm just listening.
Okay. Let me make sure we got you back on. I'm like, well, I don't know where she is. But yeah,
I was listening, but I was muted my line.
Okay.
We want to hear your opinion before we close out, Sapphire, about the do you think black people as a whole, not individually, but as a whole, being a victim to their advantage or as a crutch?
Yeah, I think, and I'm going to say we, because I'm going to align myself with the majority of the black community. And as the brother said, I did say the black community, speaking of the communities that are disadvantaged and that are predominantly black. So I feel like sometimes it is used as a crutch, because if all you have in your toolbox is a hammer, then every problem is a nail. You see what I'm saying? But if we could get it into the spirit and the mind and the hearts of our people to make creativity cool again, to make seeking for knowledge and wisdom, to make that sexy. Because, see, I'm going to tell you one thing the people who create propaganda understand. They make propaganda sexy. It's sexy to have swagger and skinny jeans and a Glock, but can't read. You see what I'm saying? That's sexy for some, a majority of our young people. That is sexy. But if we ourselves can make it sexy to research our true, authentic history and to understand how to be in tune with nature and the earth. I'm not talking about being a minimalist and hugging trees, you know what I'm saying, and eating grass. I'm not talking about the extreme. I'm talking about just getting in touch with the true consciousness of our black melanated selves. And in that, we create change, and there's nowhere else to go but up. But as far as trying to resurrect this current situation, I believe we can be the phoenix that rises from the ashes. It's time to let that go, and let's take hold of a new train of thought. And that's our conscious collective mind. I'm going to pass the mic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that was on point. I just feel like I don't feel like I agree to a certain extent that some people probably use it as it, but as the other caller, Nasir, I think I said his name right, because I'm bad with names, and I apologize if that's not your name, but I believe that's my husband's name too. But anywho, yes, Nas, I want to call him Nasir. I'm gonna call him make up a whole new name. But anywho, I just feel like I don't feel like everybody or the whole black community as a whole does that. It's realistic. We're treated as less than, we are oppressed more often than not, and it's a situation by situation kind of thing. Some people, I feel like when it's brought to public attention, it's not necessarily they use it as a crutch, but for the most part, it's valid. So.
What's still on? Brother from Minneapolis? Or you gonna go?
I think everybody's still here. Yeah, the other guy is not. He hung up.
Yeah, he's somewhere getting his bootstraps ready to pull himself up by his bootstraps, like he always tells us, I'm sure. But no, salute to y'all for the show. Salute to y'all for the conversation. Really deep stuff. I think the biggest problem is the conscious and the nationalists. We spend way too much time talking and not enough time doing the actual work. And we got to be the example we want the black community to be. So these things can't grow if all we do is complain and tell, niggas what they doing wrong and why this ain't going right. But if we're not organizing and actually doing the actual work, then, yeah, the people will not support us. So, I mean, that's on us as nationalists and conscious people out here.
Facts.
True that.
All right, guys, we got to wrap. We got less than 2 minutes. We don't want the girl to come on and start cutting us off.
Y'all already know. Y'all can hit me up on my blog, kingstruth.com. I just had a brain freeze. Instagram, kingstruth609. I had a mean brain freeze right there. Hit me up on Instagram at kingstruth609. That's it.
This is your boy Willie Styles. You can get at me at Willie Styles everywhere. That's STYLEZ. WillieStyles.info for all my links. StylesRadio.com. Don't forget.
And of course, you got your favorite girl. I am Sunny_D. Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. Catch me on my blog, Unreservedly Me. I haven't posted in a while, but y'all still love me, so follow it. I post some stuff. You guys, Naj, I said your name wrong. I apologize. Sapphire, y'all want to give out y'all info in case y'all want people to catch up with y'all?
No,
I don't have any info to give out.
Break, so I ain't got nothing. Sorry, Sapphire.
I have a quick question, and I want to leave you all with this question, and I want you all to think about it, and maybe you'll have a show about it. And here's my question. If I am the owner of a corporation, and I'm just using this as an example, right? If I'm the owner of a corporation, and I am oppressing you as my worker, if you wanted to get justice and equity in your position, would you have sex with me in order to gain that? And I'm just using this as an example for the black community. And the reason I'm saying this is because I believe one of our problems is that we have sex and we amalgamate with other people, and that will get us nowhere. And this is just my thought. I want you all to think about it, and hopefully you'll touch upon it in the fucheck.
That's a very interesting question.
That might be our topic next week.
Yes, that might be. Check out our website, gftradioshow.com, because it's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, YouTube, and, of course, blogtalkradio.com/GFT thank you guys for listening tonight. Have a great evening.
See you on 7 days.
Bye.
Holla.
It's the legend, the one and only McDonald's monument to better mornings. The Egg McMuffin, made with a fresh cracked egg, and now only $2. But there's more good news. Now you can get any size hot coffee for just $1. Yes, it's back for a limited time only. So come get your Egg McMuffin and hot coffee now on McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu. At participating McDonald's, a la carte only, cannot be combined with combo meal. It's the legend, the one and only McDonald's monument to better mornings. The Egg McMuffin, made with a fresh cracked egg, and now only $2. But there's more good news. Now you can get any size hot coffee for just $1. Yes, it's back for a limited time only. So come get your Egg McMuffin and hot coffee now on McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu. At participating McDonald's, a la carte only, cannot be combined with combo meal.